Well, let's take a closer look at what the results mean for Prince Edward Island and Canadian politics. With me now from Charlottetown is Dennis King. He's the leader of PEI's Progressive Conservative Party. Mr. King, first off, thanks for your time and congratulations on your party's campaign.
Well, thank you very much. It's a great honor to be on here. It's been an exciting last 24 hours, to say the least.
Now, polls suggested that the Green Party was perhaps favored to come out on top. You've been the PC leader for less than 3 months. You took over a party that had been out of government for over a decade, and now you've won the most seats and you've won the popular vote. You know, what made the difference for your party at the end of this campaign and on election day?
Well, look, I think that we began the process during the leadership that we held in February. We built the biggest leadership race in the history of Prince Edward Island. We had momentum coming out of that race. We carried that into the election campaign. We ran a campaign that was about people. It spoke to people because it came from people. And I think it just the style and tone that we brought to the race really resonated with individuals across Prince Edward Island. And some of the polls that you might have seen that have you leaning one way, our internal polls for the last 12 days had us knocking on the door of a majority government, and we almost got there. So we felt really good about our chances going into last night, and certainly really, really honored with the privilege that Islanders have given us in the mandate they did last night.
Now, you've talked about the need for cooperation with the other parties because you're in this situation where you've got 3 parties now in the legislature. You know, how do you see the next steps taking shape? Do you expect now you've got the most seats in the legislature, you're now going to try and govern in a minority and work on an issue-by-issue basis, or are you going to be looking for something more formal with the other parties?
Well, I think it's our intention to take the mandate of the people of Prince Edward Island and to begin to build a new government. We started on that process today. We realize that it is a minority government, and we're very respectful of that. We feel like that we can deal with this on an issue-by-issue basis. This is Prince Edward Island, after all. The philosophical differences between the 3 parties that have seats in the legislature today aren't terribly wide. Most of us have many similarities of issues within the platform that we put forward during the election. So we feel we can work together. We feel Islanders have given us a mandate to say, go and work with the other parties and to deliver good government for Prince Edward Island. That's what I talked about during the leadership, and that will be my intention going forward in the legislature.
And do you think that the results that your party achieved last night was a sign of agreement with your policies and your platform, or was it simply a desire for change? It's a desire for change that we've seen in several provinces over recent months.
Well, look, I don't have a great background in other provinces to tell you what the issues were there. In Prince Edward Island, 4th mandates are very elusive here for governments. I worked for a government that tried to get one in 2007, and we weren't successful. So I knew, like most Islanders did, that the government was going to change in this election. We tried to put forward a platform that spoke to Islanders because it came from Islanders, as I said. So we felt very confident going in that we had a really good chance to form a government. But we also picked up along the way that Islanders expect us to work together on ideas and issues, to put party politics second, and to work on what unites us and not so much of what divides us. That's what our team put forward. That's the style of leadership that I've been offering throughout this. And so I think Islanders have rewarded us with a government, and they wanted to make sure that we are prepared and need to work with other parties to deliver good government in Prince Edward Island.
Well, one issue that you may be looking at is climate change and carbon pricing. Your province's carbon levy came into effect earlier this month. Would you be seeking to reverse that policy and join some of the other provincial governments, such as Ontario and Saskatchewan, and now Alberta, who will be actively opposing the federal plan?
Look, the job that I have as the Premier-designate of Prince Edward Island is to serve the interests of Prince Edward Islanders first. Islanders are very, very mindful of the changing climate as an island province and the impacts that it can have on our future. So I think most Islanders would want me to work with the federal government to work on actually reducing carbon and not so much focused on the taxation of gasoline. We're unique as a province in that all of the goods that leave our province leave by vehicle. We don't have island-wide transit. We don't have other options like subways. So we need to talk to the federal government to say, we respect what you're trying to do when it comes to carbon reduction. We're innovators here in Prince Edward Island in that field. Can you help us further help reduce carbon to help you reach your goal? We just don't think a tax on gasoline is the best chance right now. But I don't think Islanders would expect me as the Premier to join a fight against the carbon reduction plan. They would like me to open up a conversation with the federal government to say, what can we do for a made in PEI solution to reduce carbon and not just have a made in Canada solution that serves all but doesn't fit our province.
Well, in terms of the rest of PEI's relationship with Ottawa and the federal government, what do you see as the key issues that you're going to be needing to press in terms of federal-provincial relations this year, keeping in mind that, of course, we're going to be in a federal campaign shortly?
Yeah, look, I think that's going to be a very interesting file. It always is. Prince Edward Island gets a good chunk of its budget through federal transfer payments and programs. So obviously having a very healthy relationship with the federal government is important. We have 4 members of parliament here. I know them personally. Most of them have called me today to congratulate me on the victory and to express a desire to work together. So look, I mean, we will be watching the federal events very closely, like all provinces will. And my job, as I said, is to serve the interests of Islanders first. That's what they've elected me to do. And we will work with the federal government on issues of importance to Prince Edward Island, and that will be the priority for me as the Premier.
All right, we'll leave it there for now. Mr. King, thanks so much for your time, and we'll speak again soon, I'm sure.
Andrew, thanks very much for having me on. It was awesome.